What's going on out there, Spotlight Faithful? It's your main man, Tommy, on the spot. It is way too early on a very exciting football Sunday. It's a little after 7:30 in the morning, which is like about 2, 3, maybe 4, 5 hours earlier than I typically awake on a Sunday. But I just got back not all that long ago from Hunter Mountain. A very good weekend out there for a wedding. Cool place to have a wedding, by the way, if you guys are getting married out there on the top of the mountains. Very, very good times. But neither here nor there. We're not talking about weddings. We're talking about NFL football. Thank you so much for downloading today's edition of the Football Drive, where we will look at your top 7 NFL picks against the spread today for today's action. And then I'm going to give you guys a couple of survivor pool picks. We're going to do this a little differently. Rather than doing the 2 different football drives, we're going to try to see how it goes. We're just doing 1 football drive today, 7 picks against the spread, and then ended up with your NFL survivor pool. So hopefully that works for everybody. And if not, we'll split it back up and we'll do the 2 different football drives next week. All right, let's get right into all the action here today. I'm going to give you guys my best bet and then 6 additional picks against the spread. And we'll see how we can go. Last week is a tough week. I know we didn't even do picks last week, but last week is really your feeling out process. You don't know who's going to look good. You don't know who's going to look weak. So to me, I think that is kind of a wash, and today we're going to get into the actual picks, and now we kind of see where teams are. But remember, it's also important to remember that after 1 week, some teams could look like contenders, but be pretenders. So let's try to navigate our way through, shall we? Start with our best bet of the week, our lickety lock of the week, the pick that you can put in and go to bed not even worried whether or not this one comes through. That this week is actually going to be this Sunday Night Football game. Green Bay Packers heading into Minnesota to take on a Vikings team, and they are favored, Green Bay, by 1.5. That's just a 1.5. I got to go with Green Bay here. Green Bay, I told you guys last week, would pull away from Jacksonville. Jacksonville hung tough. I got to be honest with you. They really showed me a lot. But Green Bay did find a way to win. They're your old reliable. They always find a way to win. It's a tough spot for them to go in to Minnesota, but again, Minnesota last week, yeah, they looked good, but they were playing lowly Tennessee. So let's not get too excited about Minnesota. It's a back and forth divisional game. A lot of people will probably give you 50 reasons why Minnesota will win, but I'm not buying in. I don't even know if it's been announced that whether or not Bradford is going to be playing. I don't think it'll matter. Take Green Bay in Minnesota. 1.5 is not that much. That is my lock of the week. The Packers by a 1.5. Moving right along and down the line, New Orleans heads right here to MetLife Stadium to take on the New York Giants. The Giants favored by 4.5. That's too many for me. This is going to be a shootout back and forth either way. It always is between the Saints and the Giants. And if this were in New Orleans and New Orleans was favored by 4.5, I'd probably go the other way. The Giants lost that game last week. I know that technically they won the game in the standings, but if that guy gets out of bounds, Dan Bailey comes in, heartbreaker for the Giants. So let's not get too excited about how the Giants looked last week. Sorry to rain on everybody's parade here in New York. But I think that the Saints, they really should be 1-0. If Jack Del Rio doesn't make the gutsiest call ever and go for 2, who knows where they're at. So let's not go too crazy with the Giants won and the Saints lost. This will be a close game. I like the Saints plus 4.5. Another team that's an underdog this week that had me kind of like, huh? Things that make you say, what? Anyway, it was the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are underdog by 3 this week. They're heading into San Diego. I know San Diego was destroying Kansas City in the beginning of last week's game. They ended up losing a real tough break. They just obviously fell apart on the defensive side of the ball to Alex Smith. So they didn't even fall asleep back there and give up a big lead to a guy like Aaron Rodgers, but to Alex Smith, I think that's a debilitating loss. I could see it getting out of hand pretty quick for San Diego. Whereas the Jaguars lost a game to Green Bay that I think was kind of an emotional lift because they hung in there all the way till the end. I think the Jaguars can win this game outright. They're dogs for whatever reason, I'm not sure. So I go with the Jacksonville Jaguars plus 3. Arguably one of the top 2 games of the week. It is one of the top 2, in my opinion, games of the week. Houston Texans hosting the Kansas City Chiefs. And this is a pick-em. I think maybe Houston's favored by 1 point. I actually like Houston quite a bit in this game. Houston looked pretty good last week. They showed a lot, to me at least. And even though I think that a big comeback, kind of on the contrary to what it could do to San Diego, I think the big comeback could be a lift for Kansas City. I think that they're just not as good, certainly on the road, that they would be at home, and I actually think that Houston is going to win their division. I think they're going to kind of put their stomp on. I think Brock Osweiler is a man possessed after how he feels last year when he was kind of benched and pulled for Peyton Manning in a move that I do think was the right move. I like the Texans this week. Last week they looked pretty good. Let's go with the Texans at home, minus a point over Kansas City. Moving right along and down the line here. Sometimes you get a little bit of an inkling. I know this game is going to be a tough back and forth battle of AFC North heavyweights as the Steelers take on the Bengals, but I'm going to go with the Steelers here. Steelers are favored by 3, so you might get a push here. I like the Bengals, but the Bengals looked like absolute crap last week against the Jets. I know Dalton is money during a 1 o'clock game, but he got destroyed last week. Came back and won the game at the last minute, but the Steelers looked just completely boss when they were in DC last week. I really liked them, and I think that the Steelers, I just think they're the better team. I think they have better offense. I honestly, I think Ben Roethlisberger is a top 2 or 3 quarterback in the league, and I think the Steelers take that game. I take them minus 3. Moving right along, another underdog special of the week is the Peyton Manning Bowl as the Colts head to Denver to take on the Broncos. The Broncos are favored by 6.5 here. Not sure I understand that a lot. I know that Luck didn't look great last week, but I think he kind of bounces back. Now, in his second game back post-injury, I think that they could hang in this game. Wouldn't be shocked to see Luck and the Colts steal one. I could be wrong, though, but I really do like Luck and the Colts plus 6.5. Final game of the week is going to be the Detroit Lions. Listen, I like the Lions. I know that they're not a flashy team. A lot of people expect them to be a lot worse without Megatron. I think they're going to be okay. Stafford has a lot of rapport with his offensive coordinator. Favored by 6, which is usually a little too steep for my blood, but it's still under a touchdown. Playing a bad Tennessee team that I just do not believe in. I'm going to go with the Lions this week at home, minus 6.5. Minus 6. So, just to kind of recap here quickly, it's going to be my lock of the week is going to be the Green Bay Packers minus 1.5 at Minnesota. Then from there, I like the Saints plus 4.5. I like the Texans minus 1. I like the Jaguars plus 3. I like the Pittsburgh Steelers minus 3. I like the Detroit Lions minus 6. I like the Indianapolis Colts plus 6.5. And I believe that is it. But yeah, so those are my picks for today. If you guys do have any questions about anything, please do hit me up on the Twitter at TommyOnTheSpot. Ran a little bit long, but this week you got to go with the Carolina Panthers in your survivor pool. That's my pick of the week. If you want anyone else, I'd go with the Detroit Lions. And that's pretty much all I really love this week. I love the Jets, but obviously it's too late to pick them now. But go Gang Green. And we'll talk to you guys again real soon right here on the Football Drive and on thedailyspotlight.com. Take care. Be well.